evening of work and excitement, I went to bed and fell asleep. At night, I had a very peculiar dream. I saw Trick-or-Treat Granny sitting at our house porch with candies in her palm and calling me saying, "Come here, come on." She was smiling, but her eyes looked the same as that day on the grocery store. I woke up and realized
yeah, happy Halloween. I'm doing like a little episode because I'm up and I'm bored and I have nothing else to do. I just look at my ID like this is something crazy. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. It's your boy AKJ coming to you live with an all new episode. Since it's Halloween today, I'm going to do a special video earlier this morning. I'm going to release it this morning. So, there we go. Today we're going to watch some Trick-or-Treat Granny Halloween horror stories by the YouTuber is IMR Scary Tales. So, and if it's good, I will subscribe. So, here we go.
I was about 10 years old. There was a small wooden house next to our schoolyard. That house belonged to an old man named Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith stayed in the house with his old wife. His wife loved children, maybe because they didn't have any of their own. All the kids called her Trick-or-Treat Granny. Every year, during the night of Halloween, she used to give all the kids lots and lots of candies, more than any other person living in our area. Every Halloween night, my friends and I used to run to her house and get as much candy as we could. She was old, but always smiling. Every year at Halloween night, she used to sit on her house porch with buckets of candy and give them away to every passing child. The town loved her for spoiling little kids. Mr. Smith also smiled at us whenever we went there. Perhaps he liked watching Miss Smith being happy while seeing all these kids. A week before Halloween, I went to buy groceries with my mom. She told me to get her some apples from the fruit basket, which was on the left corner of the small local store. I went there and started taking apples into my trolley, just when I felt someone standing behind me. As I turned back, I saw it was Trick-or-Treat Granny. She stood behind me, waiting her turn to get fruits. I always felt happy whenever I saw her, as she smelt like candy all the time. But this time, I didn't feel that way. Granny's eyes were a bit puffy, surrounded by dark circles. She smiled at me, but her smile was full of pain. My mom noticed us and came to talk to her. We came to know that she's not well these days. My mom waited till she finished her grocery shopping, and we gave her a lift home. When we reached her house, we saw Mr. Smith standing at the gate with a very angry face. Granny got out of the car and walked slowly towards him. We heard Mr. Smith yelling, "The doctors told you not to leave the house and take rest. Why don't you listen to me?" I overheard Granny replying, "Halloween is coming. I had to buy candy for the kids. I am all fine, don't worry." I felt grateful, thinking how much she loves us, that she went to buy candy for us, even in this bad health condition. After this incident, a few things started to become weird. Whenever we used to walk to school, we would notice Trick-or-Treat Granny sitting at our porch with her knitting wool and waving at us. But the next day, we didn't see her there. Not even the day after tomorrow. We came across Mr. Smith 3 or 4 times, but he was always busy going somewhere. 2 days before Halloween, I went to the playground to play with my friends. On our way back, we took the road near Granny's house. just to check to see if she was sitting on the porch or not. As we reached the house, we saw Mr. Smith rushing to the house with another man who seemed like a doctor. We realized that Granny is still sick, and we all felt a bit sad for her. The Halloween fever took over our town as every shop and hangouts started to get dressed in Halloween decoration. But just before 2 days of Halloween, we all came to know that Granny was being hospitalized for serious heart trouble. Mr. Smith had to stay with her in the hospital. Every kid got really sad, realizing Halloween will not be the same without her. But I prayed to God for her recovery and decided to visit her after she comes back. It was the day before Halloween. My mother took me to the store to buy my Halloween costume. I always wanted to dress as Superman, so my mom bought me the magical-looking blue and red Superman costume. As I came back home, me and my dad started to put up all the Halloween decorations. After a tiring evening of work and excitement, I went to bed and fell asleep. At night, I had a very peculiar dream. I saw Trick-or-Treat Granny sitting at our house porch with candies in her palm and calling me saying, "Come here, come on." She was smiling, but her eyes looked the same as that day on the grocery store. I woke up and realized it was morning time. The final day of Halloween came. Our long-distance relatives came to our house, hence everyone was busy having a fun time. Being among all those people, I forgot about the dream. In the evening, my school friends came wearing their Halloween costumes. We were all looking funny. I got into my Superman costume and went out to collect candies with my friends. Every kid was busy collecting candies. My friends and I also went to the nearby houses and started collecting candies. The last house in our neighborhood was connected with our way to school. After collecting the candies from that house, my friends decided to head back home. I needed to pee badly, as I remembered drinking 2 cans of orange juice before leaving the house. I told my friend to start walking and that I will catch up eventually. Now, you can all understand peeing wearing a Superman costume was a tough job. I walked to the corner of the street and helped myself, which took me enough time. After finishing, when I looked up, I saw my friends were already gone. I lifted the candy bucket in my hand and decided to head home too. Just when I was about to turn, I noticed a flash of light coming from my right side. As the school road laid ahead on my right, I could see Granny's house in some distance. Being the only house near school, it wasn't that difficult to spot for anyone. What seemed strange to me was the house light was on. I knew there was no one in the house, then how come the room lights are on? I was a brave kid, hence I thought to check it out. I was curious too. I walked towards the house, and as I reached the front door, I heard footsteps inside the house. I knocked on the door and said, "Anyone inside?" I thought it might be some stranger breaking into their house, but the response I got shocked me. I heard Trick-or-Treat Granny's voice. She said in a mellow voice, "Come on, I am waiting for you with candies." I was more than happy to know that she came back all well. I pushed the door open and entered the house. I have never been inside this house, so seeing it for the first time made me a bit shy. There was a couch on the dining in front of a TV set, and stairs were leading up to the second floor. I said in a loud voice, "Granny, where are you?" She muttered from upstairs, "Come up, kid. I am here." I walked up the stairs following her voice. As I kept walking, she kept talking. "I am waiting for so long, but no other kid came. Glad you came. I bought so many candies. Come and have it." As I reached upstairs, I saw a room at the end of the hallway. Pale yellow light was coming out from that room. I walked inside and saw Trick-or-Treat Granny laying on the bed, facing her back towards me. I could see that her body has become extremely lean, as if she has lost a huge amount of weight in just a few days. I guessed it was because of her sickness. She didn't turn towards me, instead lifted her long, lean arm, grabbing a handful of candies. "Come to this side. I am not well." I can't move much, she said in a frail voice. I felt like her voice was coming from a long distance, though she was lying just in front of my eyes. She started to laugh in that voice, and I felt something was odd. A feeling rushed down my spine that suddenly told me I shouldn't be here. I told her, "You take a rest today. I will come back some other time. Also, it's late. I probably should go home now." I was just about to leave when I heard a huge thumping sound on the wooden floor, as if someone jumped on the ground from a higher place. I turned back and my skin crawled. The blood in my veins clotted. I couldn't believe my eyes. Granny was sitting on the floor like a frog. Saliva was dripping out of her mouth. Her eyes were blood red. She gave me a terrifying smile and said in a demonic voice, "Trick or treat," and started hopping towards me violently. I ran for my life.
You damn right.
I even tripped on the stairs and hit my head. I was bleeding, but I didn't stop. I could hear the loud thuds of Granny jumping on the wooden floor as she chased me. As soon as I got out of the house, I slammed the front door behind me and ran away. I woke in the morning on my bed. My mom and dad got really worried as I didn't come home with my friends. They came looking for me and found me on the way to our house. I was lying unconscious on the road. After waking up, it all felt like a nightmare. But when my mom asked me what happened, I told them everything. I saw the look on their face changing as I told them all the details. When I finished, my mom hugged me to her chest and started crying loudly. My dad didn't say a word and left the room quietly. My parents didn't give any reason behind this reaction until I grew up. I came to know that Trick or Treat Granny passed away on Halloween evening due to a heart attack. They heard from Mr. Smith that she was in a lot of pain when she died. Her tongue came out of her mouth with saliva dripping from it. Her eyes turned all red from the blood clotting under her pupils. I didn't talk for an hour after hearing this. I felt sorry for her, thinking how much pain she has to go through on her last days. But I will never be able to forget that horrible side of her. Till today, on Halloween nights, I feel scared that she might come to visit me again.
Oh, Jesus. Trick or Treat Granny. Ain't that some wild? So now I have questions, Was that a spirit that he encountered? Yeah, I guess it was a spirit he encountered. Jeez. Oh, man. I want to thank you all for tuning in. That was kind of creepy as hell. Man, I'm gonna share my ghost story whenever I decided to tell it, because it was wild. I didn't know he was a ghost until like literally years later. But thank you all for tuning in. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will see you all again next time.